Good morning and happy Monday to everyone in the Successful Salon Team Training Room. How was your weekend? I hope it was amazing for every single one of you. Mine certainly was. I finally had some time off. So I have bronzed slightly in the sun, feeling on top of my game. So drop me a hands up, a hello if you're in the room. Let me know you're there so that I can say good morning to you and see all your pretty little faces. This morning we've invited Barbara back on because her pearls of wisdom are just phenomenal, and everybody was saying how much they loved her chat the other day. So we have her back to pick her brain some more. Good morning, Dolly. Hi, Liam. Good morning, someone who is now a Facebook user on my machine. Unfortunately, I can't see who you are, but good morning to you anyway. And so we are going to pick Barbara's brains today about how to make the best out of the time that you have with the client. If you didn't see the broadcast that Barbara and I did last Tuesday, as soon as you finish this one, hop back over and take a look at it. It was genius. And you will get loads and loads from today. So good morning, Barbara. How are you?
Good morning. Really well, thank you. Really well. I can't believe it's a week, well, nearly a week since we were talking last.
I know. The days just go so quickly, don't they?
It's crazy. Really crazy.
Phenomenal. Like Chloe, I was on can't speak this morning. I was on a Zoom with my team this morning, and Chloe was like, how is the whole week gone already? What is happening? It's just gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't help because I got robbed of an hour this morning. I was just telling Barbara online, like my phone said it was 8 o'clock, and then everything else said it was 7 o'clock. And Alexa and my laptop, they're all saying it's 7, but my iPhone's saying it's 8. And I'm like, has the clock's gone back or forward, or what's happening? And actually, my phone had synced to France because it's literally, I'm closer to France than I am London, and it's just synced across the water in French time. So amazing.
Awesome.
Michael and Alan from Salon Durham.
Yay.
I thought they were friends of yours. Good morning, Lewis, Liam and Chasey. Right, okay, you are in for a treat. Let's dive in. So what have you got for us today, Barbara?
Fantastic. Well, I've actually got lots of props as well, so it's going to be a little bit so I've kind of laid my wares out here, so we'll see what we come up with. But yeah, just to recap, I'm Barbara. I'm from Elements Lifestyle Salon in Oxted and elaworld, and here today I'm on behalf of, well, I guess both, but elaworld in particular, which is where we have a different view as to how each of us can understand what's awesome about us, how we can mesh that together so we work better together and get better results together. So that's basically, in essence, what we do. So there we are, we're done.
I loved your psychology on the stylist and the consultation last week. Like that just blew my head.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm going to take a little bit further today, and hopefully get any feedback of what anyone else would like to know, Jen, so that we can build that into today. Apologies, I obviously haven't spoken enough this morning. I've got a slight croaky throat. It's very rare that anyone says, Barb, you've not spoken enough. So my mission is, for having been in the hairdressing industry since I was a Saturday girl at 13, so literally just a couple of years ago, is to empower stylists and salon owners to really know we can achieve what, for some reason, a lot of us have a limiting belief that we can't. So my mission in life is to flip that. So now we're hopefully 1st of June. Hopefully we're in the final countdown, aren't we? That is a song I can't sing. If I were, I could sing.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. So hopefully we are in the final countdown, but it's at that point that you can, I don't know if anyone's feeling that, you can be thinking, oh, I'm ready. Oh no, I don't know if I am ready. Oh, I'm ready. Oh, I don't know if I want to be ready. All these conflicting emotions can be going on. So lots of us are thinking, I want to get back to work. And this is about thinking, are you ready to move forward? So There is no going back. We know that everything that was back there is no longer. So it's how are we going to be best placed to move forward? So we've been looking at how to reset, reinvent, and either recreate or rebook, depending whether you're a stylist or a salon owner. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. Have you done that, and are you ready? So if you think of any issue, or remember back then when we were in the salon, if anything wasn't working well, if a day hadn't gone quite to plan, we didn't get the results, mostly it would come down to a miscommunication, wouldn't it? It would be we had misunderstood something, or we felt we were misunderstood. But mostly things within the salon, within our experience with ourselves, sorry, excuse me, and with clients, is a miscommunication thing. So those misunderstandings it's super important that we have as few of those as possible when in the time with our clients, because we've got very limited amount of time to spend with clients, really. So we've got to be sure that those misunderstandings are as few and far between as possible. So our style of communication, our recipe for great communication based on our nature, is really, really important to understand. Now, we talked a lot about that last week, and kind of just to remind my piece of paper, the typical way that, why is it that when I hold that, I'm going, there we go. The typical way that, there we go. The typical way that we may communicate, and the typical way that a client receives that communication. And that is exactly, in a nutshell, why a client will say in those surveys, well, 93% of clients say they didn't get a great consultation. And 97% of us go, I gave a great consultation. But it's very much like that thing of, I've given you a gift, and you can be super excited. I don't know if you've ever done this. You've given a gift, you're super excited about the gift. And then someone's like, oh yeah, have you got a gift receipt to go with that? Because it's the gift you wanted to give, but it's unfortunately not the one they wanted to receive. So in order for us to not do that with clients, we need to get how the recipe, how the way we communicate, does it miss or does it match what a client wants? So 3 minutes is what I know. If you can hone 3 minutes, 3 steps that you do with every client, you'll get a massively different result at the end. Now, then often I hear, well, 3 minutes isn't enough time. If you think about it, 3 minutes is the length of a typical song. How many of us can think of a song that changed your life? A song that when you think about those 3 minutes transports you to another place in time, a different emotion, a different experience. So 3 minutes can be life-changing. So I know you might think it's a little bit too bigger concept. We are, doing a consultation, but I believe that's the power that a consultation can have. It's transformative, and it can change forever the way a client perceives you as the stylist, and her relationship with you, and her hair and her look, and the power that's going to give her in her life. So in the same way as we see things with a different view, depending on our nature. And you might remember last week, I've got all my stuff here. I wish you could see. It's like playground. Your different glasses of your nature will mean you take a different view of the world. Well, in the same way that you take a different view visually, that view also impacts your hearing. So have you ever been in a situation where you're in a team meeting, and either you're delivering the meeting or on the other end, you've delivered the meeting and you think, that was great, absolutely got my message across. And then your team are going out going, oh, I didn't get any of that. I didn't get any of that. Why is she saying that same stuff again? I didn't get any. It's not, what is it about? So again, we can think we're communicating, but we're giving the communication we want someone to have, not necessarily understanding what it is and how it is they want to receive that. In fact, Jen, we were on a call this morning, weren't we? And listening to exactly that. We were listening to this really clever gentleman, and he was explaining exactly that. So for us to be able to put ourselves in our client's shoes, so quickly and then do it again the next hour and again the next hour and again the next hour. That's a skill that if you take this month to really look at honing and practicing, that is going to give you the most amazing return. So next prop. Here's what I'd like you to think about this month and every month moving forward. Whoever has been in the position at the end of the month, they get the salary and go, really? That's not what I was expecting. That's not what I think I deserved or what I was hoping. So what I'm here to show you is hopefully a thought that what we get, it's really easy for us to stack it in our favor. And here's why. Here's our gift. So this is my gift. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I choose to put in here is transparently what I'm going to get. Barbara, get a grip. What is I'm transparently going to get at the end of every month. It's not going to be a surprise that what I get when we don't open wage packets now, I'm showing my age, but what I'm going to get at the end of the month is going to be entirely connected to what I gave. Now, you might say, I just gave to every client. I did the most amazing styles. I created the most amazing looks. But again, that isn't just what a client is wanting to receive today. So for us to have that different skill alongside our hairdressing skills is where I believe if you invest some time this month, that will make the hugest difference. So in the same way as I know Jen's course that hopefully most of you have done, the Find Your Sue, when you know that, you know how to talk to Sue. Would that be right, Jen?
Absolutely.
You know then how to communicate with her. And you know how to make it personal for every client that you're going to be looking after. So in order to do that, it's going to be really important that we look after ourselves and that we are ready and prepared for what we're going to be in when we get back to the salons. Now, I'm going to liken it to the water thing. We've all known the water of, see, you wouldn't want to be in a car with me. This is why I can't maneuver or reverse properly, because I never get with the sat nav. It's like, okay, which way are we going? Sorry. Those who've been in cars with me will go, yep, I can vouch for that. Now, if we were a glass of water, we've all heard of are you a glass half full or a glass half empty? Well, here's what's more important, I believe, with that analogy, is that we all start off with a full glass. Okay, we come into the world with everything we need within us, but we just don't realize how to tap into that. So if I'm giving, I won't pour my water on the table, but if I'm giving to my clients, I'm giving to my family, I'm giving to my friends, before you know it, you feel super depleted. And then we're tempted to go and do something negative, like, I don't know, go shopping, binge eat, have a drink. It's like, oh, I need a break. And we'll potentially do something negative to feel good again. Whereas if we keep ourselves full to the brim, so we understand what we've got to give to ourselves in order that we can give to others, then you only need drop, 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 drop into your glass, into you every day to constantly feel full, so that you've got an incredible amount of your expertise, your knowledge, your kindness, your passion, and your skills to share. So again, this month, how you are set up to make sure that not only are you prepared physically for what we're going to experience, but how are you going to keep that stamina, that mindset, like Jen was saying, having a break. How are you going to, make sure you take the time that you can give? Because again, it's like that gift. I can't give you what I don't have.
Yeah.
So if I don't have it, I can't give it to you. So that hopefully is something that you'll kind of think, yeah, what have I got to give to me this month? But in order to give to yourself what you hopefully want to receive in terms of reward for all your passion and your skills and your experience, is a monetary reward. Now, see, I'm getting tongue-tied just saying that. As stylists, even as salon owners, we're not often comfortable talking about money. The temptation would be, who could relate to this? You go to reception and to the till. The temptation, if it was a big bill, to run away. the temptation to not to go, yeah, see ya, you know, to not deal with money, because we're creative and we're empathetic. We tend to shy away from that. But in order for you to give yourself and be stacking in your gift box for you at the end of the month, the gift of money for you and your life, you've got to value you, and you've got to value your time. So clients will pay us, but they might pay us once, and if we give really great value, they'll want to come back and they'll pay us again and again because we've given that value. But here's what I've noticed with stylists, myself included, is that if we don't value our time, clients don't see us as valuable. So again, who could relate to, you know, oh, I know she's, yeah, it's a bit difficult. We'll go over and ask, just, oh no, it wasn't really this. Take a bit off there. Take a bit off the bill. Take a bit, you know, make adjustments. Can you relate to that, Jen? That feeling of you feel bad about saying, well, actually, this is what I'm worth and this is what my skills are worth. So here's a way to think about your time and the value of it. There's two ways you can look at it. You can look at time and your timers as it's constantly running out. So that's a typical timer. It's constantly, you turn it over and you're just watching the time, you know, zoom away. If you understand the value of your time and the value of you, you get to have a magic timer. I love this. Look at this. Okay. This timer.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that so cool? And it's black. It's like a hairdresser's dream.
That's amazing.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah.
So by understanding the value of you and understanding what you're giving, the time that you spend with a client, the time that you spend on you is like giving you back that time. It's giving you the value of that time. And instead of time feel like it's running away and there's never enough of it, it's like, I've got all the time I need to get the result I want and to give the result I want to the client I'm looking after. So I love this. If anyone wants to know, it's called a paradox tea timer. And it's a special timer. I don't know if you can see it. They use it literally for tea. So it brews you. And you know, like when you have a cup of tea, it's like giving yourself a break.
Yeah.
This timer is like, give yourself some time. So it's beautiful. Yeah, so that's that. Now, when we say we don't have enough time, and what we're actually saying is we don't know how to use the time, and we don't know how to be best prepared for the time. And all that means is that we just don't have in place a habit to do that. So that's where you're going to change, because a habit of knowing how to use your time, what that does is habits build hope and suppress fear. Now, often when we're with a client, we're thinking we've got to talk about products, we've got to talk about a treatment, we've got to do this, and that can build in a lot of us a fear of, she might say no, I might be rejected, you know, she might not want it today, whatever it is. So habits, if you look at habits in what they really, really do, they build hope and suppress fear. So for me, that it would be a really key asset to have going back. That would be a really, really cool thing to do. Now, we're free. We have freedom of choice. And if you remember from last week, I was talking about AI being autonomy and influence. You know, we all have today the ability to choose what we do in a way that we've never had in history ever. And we have an ability to influence others, influence ourselves and others. So we're free to choose what we put and stack in here throughout the month. We're free to choose. We can walk over to a client and talk about, present, do. Your manager, your boss, well, you're in charge, but no one else can control what you do with the client. You're free to choose that. So you're free to choose what you put in the gift you're going to give yourself at the end of the month. But what you're not free to choose is the consequences of that choice. So I hate stuff like that. I hate that. It's like I was free to choose to have that family size bag of pop chips. However, I'm not free to choose the consequences of eating the family size bag of pop chips. So, do you know, it's that kind of, it is down to me.
Yeah.
The great news is I have everything that I need within me to deliver in the time I'm with the client exactly what she needs or him and exactly what I need to. And it's not a fair exchange if a client's getting what they want and you're not getting what you want, not what you're wanting and needing. So please remember that. And, you know, as I said last week, I'd be happy to take everyone through an exercise of really figuring out what you want and how to reverse engineer that so that you're really sure that everything you're doing is getting you on track to achieving that. And I know that if you're a 365 salon, that's like a key part of what you do as part of your DNA there. So, but it's super, super important. So those habits that are in the way of that, what are they actually? They give us security, because when we know how we do something, it can feel good to you do it and you know the result you're going to get. When you change that though, you get the freedom, you get so much more. And it reminds me of, it's an Anthony Robbins, I don't know, Jen, if you've done any of his stuff, but it reminds me of an Anthony Robbins quote. And well, two quotes actually. One is, your standards are your life. Now that, when I did training with him, just got so ingrained in me that if I walk past certain things, I just literally hear this like smack on the side of my head, your standards are your life, your standards are your life, you know, so you have to deal with that. And the second one is, the level of discomfort that you can comfortably deal with reflects the success you get in your life. So if it's important to you, when you go back forward to your salon and to looking after clients, if it's important to you to feel comfortable and do things in the way you did before, if you got exactly the results you wanted before, then maybe rinse and repeat that. If you didn't, if you're wanting more, you're wanting a different way of working and a different way of getting rewards from your job, then you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And all that means is having some things around you that are going to make that easier. So when we think of time and how we're going to value our time, who here feels like the days, well, Jen and I were just saying that the days are flying by. The days are just flying by, aren't they? So I was going to do this on, oh my God, right there's a day. So here is one day, 24 sections in that day, 24 hours in that day. Okay. I'm sure some of my days, well, regularly have had 48 hours. I swear they've taken so long, or they've had only 4. But you'll notice that every day has 24 hours. But what you'll notice here is that according to your element of action, there's a different time of the day. So for example, fire energy is at its best between 10 and 2. So 10 and 2. So 10 and 2 in the morning, and 10 and 2 in the morning, and 10 and 2 in the middle of the night. Yeah, nighttime 10 till 2, and in the day 10 till 2. Earth energy is most pronounced from 2 till 6. No, sorry, 6 till 10. 6 till 10. Now here's the one that most of us can relate to at the moment. Air energy is active between 2 and 6 in the morning. So who can relate to, at the moment, being awake at any point between 2 and 6 with their mind worrying or things going around in their head and just thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? Yeah. Your brain is doing exactly what it should do at that time of the day. So instead of freaking out, it's like, okay, use that energy. If it is 2 till 6 in the morning, then we can give you some tips for, you know, having a drink of a particular thing, actually herbal, so that you get back to sleep. But what happens is that when you understand how your nature relates to the nature of the day, you can also use that to capitalize on making sure that you've got to have the right energy throughout the day. So if you have a strong earth nature, you'll get between 2 and 6 in the afternoon, you'll be like tired. You're just thinking, oh my God, I don't feel great. I feel, you know, you get that heavy feeling, you know, literally, and you want energy, you might be tempted to have sugar. So there's lots of things that you can learn to do and that are going to make a big difference in how your energy builds in the day. So we've got 24 hours in every day. What we don't think of is that within all of those 24 hours, we've got 60 minutes. So here you'll see in that 60 minutes, 45 of those minutes are going to be with the client. Now, to me, when I look at that, that's like a lot of minutes. That's a lot of little lines. Each of those lines, so that's in effect 20 average songs. So in the time that we're looking after a client, you could have 20 songs, a playlist of 20 songs playing if you were looking after a client for an hour. That's a long time. Yeah. That's 20 life-changing moments. Now, if you know, according to your nature, and I'll share this in the group, Jen, so that you can see according to what your nature is with the colors, how it works. Our nature is fire. So we're desperate to get on with being creative, and we're desperate to get on and express our passion. What we miss is hopping in to start with the focus of listening, making the plan for the client, engaging with her before we get to the passion. So she is confused. She's confused because the gift we're trying to give her is not in the order she wants to receive the gift. So in that first few minutes, if you know how to order your communication and how to connect with your client, frame the experience, and again, depending on the system that your salon uses and supports you, you may already have this in place, but this is just a different view of it. But if you do that, whatever you do in the middle of all that time, if you mix up, you're chatting a bit, you're showing her something, you're talking about something, that's all perfect. That's perfect. So long as then you build up at the end to a crescendo of coming back in reverse to what you did at the beginning. So in the beginning, if we know what to do, we've got that focus, then we've got the plan, then we've got the connection, and then we bring our passion to all of that. And that makes sense for a client. Then we can mix it all up throughout the appointment. Then as we come back, our passion has reached, its point. Then we have to then go back, make sure the client understands that everything we've done is connected to what she wanted. She's confirmed with her plan, and she's confirmed that our focus on what matters to her is where we end. So we begin with that and we end, my God, the car, we end with that at a heightened level. So does that make sense, Jen? Does that kind of, I'm trying to sort of bring into, a very sort of capsule amount of time, all of that. So if you think of that 45 minutes to an hour, I've left a gray area there because either if you work quick or, whatever, but you've got a break there. But in that 45 minutes or an hour, you can deliver a playlist of 20 life-changing moments. You can connect with a client in a way and transform her perception of you, her perception of what stylists are. Because let's face it, we are in-demand experts, never been quite viewed in the way that we are now before. And let's build on that. Let's really, really build on that. So that's going to be about blowing clients away with how we know how to do that, and how without them even thinking, they'll be back thinking, gosh, she's connecting with me. He's connecting me with a way that I never actually understood before. Now I can see why this salon is my salon of choice, or this stylist is my stylist of choice. So in order for that to work, you can see how important it is that all the elements of that come together in an order that you can then mix up in the middle, because no stylist is someone who, in my experience of silly number of years, can be controlled. Exactly. I mean, I know I can't control myself in that way. So where would I be thinking I want to, which I don't want to, control others? And that is the thing. If you're not in control, next prop, who have you given your remote to? So if you're not stacking into your transparent box at the end of every day, thinking, I really like what I put in there today. I'm looking at that and thinking, I like what I put in there, because it's not a surprise. At the end of the month, that's not going to be a surprise what's in there. So if I don't like what I put in today, I've given my remote to someone. Now, I've always lived in a house where I've never had the remote. But in life, I've got my remote. So if you're thinking, I don't like what's in there, you've given away your power. So reclaim that, and that will again have you feel successful. It will have you feel that by taking control of the right moments in your journey with your client, you then have the freedom to just have fun and still get an amazing result, but deliver an experience that you're proud of, that connects with your passion and your empathy, and doesn't squash that into too much of a routine. So in order for that to work, teamwork is imperative. Your team, you're all going to absolutely have to be in it together. And remember, or hopefully remember, 4 components to any salon team: clients, the salon, the team, and the boss. 4 components. Your boss is not the salon. The salon is not your boss. Everybody within the team needs each other. Boss needs the salon, clients need the salon, team need the salon. Everyone needs each other, okay? Everyone has a different role in supporting that, but everyone needs each other. So of all the things that we would want more of and less of, the only thing that's in our way of having that is a slightly different recipe for a habit for us, a slightly different recipe for the habit and a process for our team, and a slightly different recipe and habit as how we convey that to ourselves, our team, our clients, our boss. So Jen, what would you say would be, I mean, because you've done such amazing things on here in the last few weeks, it's been incredible for everybody. What would you say as an industry, as stylists, we're going to want more of when we're back at work, when we're forward at work? What would you say we're going to want more of?
I think the industry is going to, I'm speaking purely here from what I feel moving forward, I want for my team is more structure. More structure to what they do, so that there's a science behind how they deliver. And I'm actually looking at cutting my clients into A, B's and C's, and working slightly different with the different needs of each client. From that training call that we had this morning, when I think about, what does that client really want? Well, Sue's wants something different to Karen's, wants something different to Julie's. So I think my ABC client method would work really well here, but they're all going to need a structure.
Absolutely.
To know who we're working and dealing with for each team member. So I think that structure moving forward.
Absolutely. And when you think back to, again, last week when we talked about the elements on a desert island, a fire, our passion, just is out of control and will fizzle to nothing without structure around it. If you build a campfire, you have to bank it up with either earth or rocks or something. There has to be structure for creativity to thrive. It's exactly that. Without structure, we fight structure. We go, don't like rules, don't like processes, don't like this. Once we just go, actually, I do better when there's the right mix of those around me. And when my relationship with them, which we talked about last week, is your relationship with the tools and resources that you have in place, your salon has in place. Are you making the most of that relationship with those tools and with those processes? Or are you just going, I don't like those? So that would be me. I'm mimicking myself here. I don't like rules. So therefore, I spent years wasting opportunities because I wasn't getting the best out of situations because I didn't like rules and I didn't like that structure. Now, something that we have in place going back to help give that structure is we did this with our website. We've built and if you're with Salon Guru with Phil, this will be something that will be available. But we have an interactive consultation that clients will be getting before they come into the salon. We can then talk back to them through the portal, through their portal in our website. We can talk back to them, discuss with them their needs. They can be building up a Pinterest board. So we know what things they've got in mind before they come in, so that what we're doing is really respecting our experience by not being on the hop of, what have I got to, we know we can do that, but it takes time. So if a client's going to come in and I've got no clue as to what she's wanting or he's wanting, do you know, that puts me on a back foot. And actually that's taking, I believe, their time and money that's not necessary. Whereas if we were prepared and we had a structure around that before they come in. So we're really excited, and in lockdown, we've built this, sorry, excuse me, improved this to where then it takes them through their home care and their top tips and everything. So that the things that we tend to forget, because as creative people, we resist the habit of doing that. We resist the habit of starting off, having fun in the middle, and then building back up to that crescendo of delivery at the end. Because we resist that, our clients don't get the best of us, and we don't get the best and the reward from the time that we've spent. Yeah. So however you can build that being prepared into every touch point of that, and actually that's a good place to start. Where do you resist? So if you were to write down where, as a stylist or as a salon owner, you resist processes and rules. Now, if you're not sure where you resist, just think about what it is that currently you don't like. So if you don't like your wages or the financial results or the profit, you're resisting a process that you need to have in place to do that. If you don't like the number of clients that you've got who are frequently visiting you, then you're resisting how to have a process in place and a habit that is going to support you in delivering that. Yeah. And that means you can be more creative and have more fun and not be frustrated at thinking, oh, I'm not, you know, why don't people see me for who I am or my skills or anything? It's like, does that make sense? It's kind of, yeah.
I think for the 365 guys in the room, I mean, you've got a process, you've got that structure because you've got your 5 steps. But have a think about what step 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 are you resisting?
Yes.
Because there will be one, and that will be, I mean, that is a golden turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not, then if you don't have that support or that system in your salon, as I said last week, you know, get in touch and really happily help and give you some resources and sheets that you can work through and kind of having that awkward conversation with yourself. It's kind of going, okay, Bob, it's time for your personal appraisal, you know, really between you and me, you know, it's just you and me, so you can tell me what is it.
For me, my structure is where I'm going back into reservations position.
Okay.
So my reservationist, she was with me 12 years and I love and adore her.
Wow.
She moved on with her life and I'm like, as a friend, best thing she could do. As a salon owner, help. But I actually want to go into that position, firstly to steer the ship out of troubled waters, but secondly to check the processes and the systems that we've got in place there. And, you know, how can we perhaps be having pre-consultations and how can all these things be working for me in my business now is a real question. And I've got and I'm blessed because I am going to have that opportunity to go in and do that. But it's gonna need some structure from my
absolutely
part. Otherwise
absolutely
I'm back off into the office.
yeah exactly. And I was reading, I think it might have been you, Jen, who said that you end up, you love what you do and then you go into either being a manager or having, you know, your own business, and then you suddenly find you're pulled away from what you love, and then your team can then suddenly lose connection with how much you love what you do and why we all do what we do. And then before you know it, you've got this kind of them and us loop going on, which is crazy. So now's the perfect time for us all to go, actually, we're in this together. And all together is always a better way to do business. It's always a better way to do anything. But, you know, all together is always a better way. So, you know, we've all got superpowers. We've got all the powers. We've got all the powers to be a hero. And as we said last week, it's like a hero is someone who's happy, engaged, resourceful, and optimistic. So we've all got the hero advantage. It's just some of us haven't got our little recipe of the habits to have everyone else see that. Now, again, last week we talked about the power of tiny habits and changing habits. It's a big thing to change habits, but we have a method of, you do that in a teeny tiny way. So again, there's a free 5-day thing for that the BJ Fogg, who owns the system that we use, runs. So if anyone wants to understand how to break habit change down into something teeny tiny, then we'll jump on that, because it's absolutely amazing. So when you know your superpower and you know what makes you stand out, by default you know what holds you back. And so again, it's kind of, you map out all these things, and it's like, if I know what holds me back, that will actually prevent me from stacking things in my gift box at the end of the month. So that's what I've got to be sure I know how to counter and how to balance. It's a recipe. It's like our color formulas. It's just the right formula for us. But if we're not making that personal, if we're not really understanding how to make that personal, we'll always feel conflicted at the end of the day, or like we didn't show up as our best, or frustrated, or whatever. So no salon owner, no manager is going to want themselves or anyone in their team to feel that. So, let's take this time in this month to be sure that that's not what happens. So how many times have I said so? I'm now hearing it in my ears. Apologies. The thing is, we're not just rebuilding salons. We're not just rebuilding, businesses. We're actually rebuilding communities and our economy. That's what I know, 100% know, that hairdressing is about. We are the linchpin in high streets. We are one of the few businesses, apart from restaurants, where people book to come to a high street. So we guarantee for all our fellow business owners in our own high streets that we will bring people. So how cool is that for us? We have that power to not only help our clients feel amazing, to help our salons get strong again, but to help our high streets get strong and our communities get strong. So for me, just having that thought makes me kind of feel like I'm growing, and it makes me feel like it's really, really important what we do, but it's important that we do it well. And it's important that we know how to, I'm going to reverse engineer my little props now. We know how to keep our remote control, take control and keep control of you. Fill your gift box for the end of the month. Do not let that be some awful surprise package that you're unwrapping going, blimey, that was not what I wanted to receive at the end of this month. So you can actually we have like little jars, you can do, this is a large version, but you can do it with your own little jar and think every day, be stacking. What have you given yourself this month? That at the end of the month, you can look back and go, I gave myself all of that. And that's the reward I've got for the choices I've made. So doing hair, I think, is kind of a job. It's a great job, but doing hair is a job. Being a stylist, for me, is something that is life-changing, and it's transformational for us and for our clients. And it gives you a lifestyle. When you are being a stylist, you are transforming lives, you're transforming your own life through that. And you're giving yourself the opportunity to make it count, make it personal to you and to your client, make it better, and above all, make it fun. And that would be, I've got one last prop, Jen. Hang on. This is my son, so I just thought this would be really funny. So my thought before we just have a couple of minutes of chat, hopefully, or any questions, is 2020. I saw a funny thing of, Back to the Future, and the meme was never set it to 2020. Nobody would want to come back to this year, would they, if they were traveling around? So just be thinking, are you ready? So for when you move forward to your salon, are you ready? Lights, camera, action, 2020, take 2.
Yeah. That's giving me goosebumps.
So
giving me goosebumps.
That's kind of a hopefully not too much of a jumble of thoughts. I do like, my brain can ramble. I do apologize. But
we all do that, but it's whatever comes out is meant to come out at that time.
Yeah.
I believe. And so
yeah. And it really is, value yourself, value your time, but know how much control you have over just those minutes, those life-changing, playlists. I mean, That's a really cool thought, actually. If your appointment was a playlist, so imagine your appointment as a playlist, a 45-minute, what energy, how could you, and that would be a cool thing to do. Maybe someone could do that, make a playlist, 45-minute playlist of songs that had the energy of listening and then connecting and then like a whole load of fun in the middle and then building up to, you know, a real, like a movie, isn't it? Yeah, it's like, it's going to be fun, isn't it? Let's do it. Let's all do a playlist for our 45-minute of life-changing, transformational, you know, moments. And then I suppose we all can't have different playlists in the salon, but you could have, just even knowing that in your head is going to make you think, oh, okay, we're on a different song now. So I've moved from this part of what I'm doing into this part, and now I'm in this part, and now actually I could just do whatever and enjoy all of that. And then when I hear that note, when I hear this song kick in, whoop, I'm back here, and then I'm back here and back there. So, you know, anything for me that helps give you the tools that make you and everyone around you see how awesome you are is got to be a great thing. And you know, yeah, so
I have to habit hack because I forget. I go into my own little bubble, like Jen's world, and so I literally have to. Ken really kills himself laughing when I tell him. My trolley is a 5-step trolley because otherwise I forget. So the first drawer has got everything for step 1 in, and the second drawer has got everything like my combs and my cutting stuff and like for step 2, and my consultation stuff for step 2 and cutting stuff. And I literally have to go through my trolley.
Absolutely, Jen.
I get a client and I'm like, oh.
But that is how you build successful habits. Successful habits aren't built, and I'm a tiny habits coach. So just newly qualified during lockdown. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Another day.
I know, it's so cool. But the success of habits is that they're easy. Do you know, anything that feels like hard work doesn't make us feel successful. So if it feels like hard work, that's your brain saying, okay, you haven't got this formula right. You know, just adjust the formula. So where there's a flow, that it's just like natural. Do you know? And that's for all of us what I would love. If I could wave a magic wand, drive everyone nuts now. I'm gonna wave a magic wand. I've got all my workshop props out. If I could wave a magic wand, then it would be that all of us at the end, 100 days after we reopen, are looking at columns and appointment books that are full of the kind of work that brings out the best in us, that challenges us. And we have the gift of knowing that we've stacked and made choices that are going to have made all of the stress of the first part of this year worthwhile, not only for us, but for our clients. You know, and think of all the lives we're going to be repairing and making feel better as stylists, all of the things that people are in such need of us, you know, as for that emotional connection as well. So, you know, that's what I wish, that we're all there. So I think obviously through this group, everyone's going to be able to see that, you know, you're on track for that. And that's an amazing thing you've done, Jen, that everyone will be able to have support along that journey.
Damon's saying, I've got a few little questions here.
Yes.
Damon's saying, love the playlist idea. I'm on it. Damon, do me a favor, make it on Spotify and then share it so we can all have it. And then we can all share it and all be tuning in. And then then I know when I go to work in the morning, my salon's listening to the same songs as your salon. So cute.
So Damon, if you connect with me, then I'll just take you through the energy, like the energy path. And then I love that. And then you can have the playlist that will match the energy path. Brilliant. Love it.
Cool. Facebook user, by the way, so that we can see who you are, when you are watching a live video, there's a little blue link in the description of the video, and it just says click on here so that it grants StreamYard the permission to tell me who you are, because otherwise it just comes up like this. But thank you anyway. The structures that Barbara introduced to us in our business have been a game changer for us, and they just work. You are truthful in your resistance. About shining the torch on yourself. So
absolutely.
And then
it's that awkward conversation with yourself.
And changing habits are the key. If you keep doing what you do, you'll always get what you are getting. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ken always says no change equals no change.
Exactly.
I always like to think the quote, don't get upset by the results of the work that you didn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. Love that.
It's on my wall in my office.
Yeah.
Because then if something's not going according to plan or as I want it to, then I ask myself, did I do the work? And honestly, if the answer is yes, then I need to change the strategy. But if the answer is no, I need to do the bloody work.
Absolutely.
Chris Connors, one of my very close friends, the guy that owns Coco's Foundation out in Africa, his dad always used to say to him, now you've got to go do the doing. And that plays over in my head. You know, you've had the idea, now you've got to go do the doing. So the doing's done, guys. So thank you all. I'm looking forward to hearing this playlist. Damon, you've done yourself in there. Now you've got to do it. And we'll have that playing when we go back now.
Absolutely.
I love the idea of like the focus and like then moving the tempo up into like build and back up again. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Barbara, you're a genius. Thank you so much for the contents of your brain again.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And I will see you tomorrow morning on the calls. And you guys, I will see you all at 10 afterwards. So thank you so much for all spending your time. If there's any questions, Barbara's details are in the description of this. Damon, you need to get in contact because you're going to do us all the playlist. Thank you. And Barbara, thank you so much for spending
absolute pleasure.
Time.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Bye.